Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future home buyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of home ownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923, AnyMac Home Mortgage, an equal housing lender, American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC, DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage, LoFi Direct, Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent, License Lender, Broker Number ML 338923, Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License Number MC 338923, Rhode Island License Lender, License Number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley, and Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach of college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Sports Talk with R&J. I am Steve Risser along with Justin D'Onofrio. And the Yankees have started their season. They're off to a pretty good start right now. They're 3-2 right now, and they're winning right now 1-0 in the fifth inning over the Phillies. And I think the big positives for the Yankees, we'll start with that, has been, I think Garrett Cole today, he's pitched 4 shutout innings already, and he's into the fifth inning. He already has a shutout going. I think he had a really good start in his first start. He had 11 strikeouts against the Giants. He went 6 or 7 innings, had 11 strikeouts against the Giants. So Garrett Cole's definitely been a positive for this team. Also, I think a positive for this team has been Aaron Judge. We saw his first at-bat of the season, hits a home run. Then he hit another home run on Sunday. Stanton, I think, has been good. He hit that big home run on Sunday as well. And then Rizzo, he hit that. He's hurt right now, but he hit a home run on Monday. And then Gleyber Torres. Gleyber Torres has played well for this team. Hit that 2-run homer on opening day. He had another home run on Monday night, and then he had a base hit today, RBI single today. So Gleyber Torres has been off to a hot start. So those are the positives so far for the Yankees. Justin, what are you taking away from the Yankees from their first couple games?
Yeah, so far the positive, yeah, you mentioned, Garrett Cole looked really good today and opening day. Johnny Brito on Sunday, his MLB debut, he looked really good. Five or six shutout innings as well for him. That's a big boost with all the arms that they have out right now. I know they sent him back down to AAA because they don't need that fifth start at the moment, but he's definitely a guy that can come back. And the way he pitched on Sunday against the Giants, you feel pretty good that he can kind of fill in starts when he has to. You mentioned Torres, who's looked really good. Stanton's played well so far, and he's been playing a lot in the outfield too, so far early on in the year. We'll see if he can, stay out there and be nice to kind of be able to DH a bunch of guys, but LeMahieu's looked pretty good too in that lineup. So yeah, the top of the lineup, and I think the starting pitching as well has looked pretty good so far early on through the first week of the year.
Absolutely. I mean, I disagree with that a little bit. I think that Clark Schmidt was not good and Herman wasn't good, but that's because of the injuries. The fact that Cortez looked good and the fact that Cole looked good, that's the important thing. Yeah. Schmidt and Herman not looking good. Yeah, one of those two guys will probably be the number 5 starter. And seeing the way that guy pitched on Sunday, he might even be the number 5 starter. So we might even have either of those two guys in the rotation. That's why the starting pitching isn't as big of a concern. But my big concerns with this team I think number one, it's been, really the bottom of the order. Guys like Donaldson, guys like Hicks. Hicks has been absolutely terrible for this team. He's already getting the boos. The shortstop position, Volpe, starting right away, he struggled, but what's the other option? Kiner Falefa hasn't been good either. And it's really either Volpe or you're calling up Peraza. That's really what it is. So there really isn't another option there. But another big concern, which I think is one of my biggest concerns of this team, is this bullpen. And especially Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes had a job to do on Saturday, and he didn't do the job. He did not do the job. And if he has a 1-2-3 inning, seeing the way that Giants closer struggled on Saturday, the Yankees could have very easily won that game if Clay Holmes did his job and didn't give up those 2 runs. So I think the bullpen might end up being the biggest question mark for this team and could be the thing that keeps this team from winning the division.
Yeah, possibly could be. I know we talked about that last week. If I know some point you hopefully get Tommy Kahnle back would be nice. I know, King didn't. I know he had some guys that inherited last night, and the Phillies took advantage of that. But look, hopefully he'll figure it out. Loiza's looked pretty good so far in his short time. But yeah, the bullpens definitely could be something that could be a concern. Yeah, we talked about Clay Holmes. Was not great there on was not great Saturday against the Giants, which obviously hurt. But because they have a shot to win that game if he could kind of just get out of that inning, get a 1-2-3 inning. So yeah, the bullpen definitely concerned, and the bottom of the lineups is where I'm really concerned. Hicks, he was complaining Sunday that he wasn't in the lineup, and he hasn't done anything.
Stop it. Stop complaining that you're not in the lineup. You're not doing your job. That's why you're not in the lineup. Don't blame Boone for that. You're not doing your job. That's why you're not in the lineup.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And then, I know Kiner Falefa and Volpe after, but the thing about Volpe is I think he's had some really good at bats, and he doesn't seem lost. So that's where I'm like, okay, maybe at some point, couple lucky hits, he finds a hole. And he'll figure it out. But he's gotten 3 stolen bases, 3 or 4, or he's got 3 for 3 stolen bases. Why? So he's been nice to get some, be able to get on. But yeah, Donaldson's, I know he got robbed last night of a hit, but Kiner Falefa has been awful. Trevino, Higashioka, been, no, Higashi's got that home run. But yeah, the bottom of the order, can they figure it out? That's where I'm concerned, because because LeMahieu looks pretty good. So if the bottom of the order can kind of get on and turn the lineup over to LeMahieu and Judge, then look, this team to be able to score a lot of runs. But the thing about the Yankees lineup always is they'll hit bad pitching, but the reason why they never beat the Astros is they can't touch good pitching, and they shut them down. Because you keep them in the ballpark, you got a good chance to win that game.
And they're very feast or famine too. You see Monday night, they score 8 runs against Taijuan Walker. They hit really well against Taijuan Walker. But then you see last night, against the Phillies' number 5 starter, they get 1 run. It's a very, up and down lineup. And they really didn't improve it that much in the offseason because they were so worried about signing Rizzo and Judge. So they really didn't improve the lineup. I know the lineup was good last year, but it was not a great lineup, and it struggled in the ALCS. They really didn't improve it. It's very up and down. So that's definitely, I think the lineup's going to be good, but it definitely could be a concern when they're facing an Astros, a Rays, a Blue Jays, a Mariners. This lineup could definitely be a concern.
Yeah, it absolutely could. We've seen it happen in the playoffs in the LCS. We've seen it against Houston. They've really showed to hit the Astros starting pitching. That's been a huge concern why they have not been able to get over the hump against them. It's definitely a huge concern right now. So yeah, it's just so feast or famine. I'm somebody, I don't totally like it, but it's the way they constructed this team. And yeah, Matt Strahm shut him down last night. Luckily Boston did not bring him back because he wanted to be a starter, and Boston wanted him as a reliever. So the good thing Boston didn't bring him back is we did not touch him last night. But look, the lineup, that's the bottom of the order right now. Definitely, concerning. I know they signed Cordero too to be a backup outfielder. I think he's got all the tools to be a really good player. The problem is his strikeout rate's 35%. It's that's the rest of the lineup. He just, he's got a cannon for an arm. He's got all the tools. If he just make more contact, I think he'd be a good player. But, the Yankees don't care if you strike out 100 times. They just don't. So, yeah, if the line can figure it out, yeah, they got a chance to make a run. If not, and they show against the Astros yet again, it's going to be, you're going to be done in 4 or 5 games against them yet again.
Yeah, exactly. So the road ahead for the Yankees this weekend, they go to Baltimore, to Camden Yards. Their game is postponed to tomorrow, but they will play opening day in Baltimore will be Friday. And I think this is a series that the Yankees take 2 out of 3 in. I don't like the depth of the Orioles rotation. That showed up this weekend in Boston when they gave up, I think, 9 runs in every game. I don't like the depth. And they couldn't hold a 7-1 lead. That shows you the depth in this rotation is definitely a concern for this team. I mean, they were really good last year, and I like this lineup for the Orioles. I really like Adley Rutschman.
Yeah.
I like Gunnar Henderson. I like Mountcastle. I think Mullins will have a better year. I like Santander. I like this lineup. I think this lineup is good. I like the closer, but the depth in this rotation, I don't like. That's why, and you got Cortez pitching one of those games. I really like the way Cortez pitched on Monday night. I think that the Yankees, I think they take 2 out of 3 in Baltimore this weekend.
Yeah, I think so too. They've the series you should beat Baltimore. Yeah, it's a good team, but it's a team that you should beat. Yeah, as you mentioned, the depth of starting pitching. I know their top prospect, Grayson Rodriguez, making his debut against Texas today. We'll see if he can kind of keep that Rangers lineup in check, and maybe he can become the next man up in that rotation. Because they've kind of struggled. So I expect them to take 2 out of 3. I think the plan is Clark Schmidt's probably going to get game 1 of that series. Maybe that's one that that they struggle with. But I think against this team, the Orioles line has been really good. But I think they find a way, 2 or 3 games to outslug Baltimore, find a way to win the first road series of the year.
Absolutely. So now we move on to the Red Sox, and the Red Sox are 2-3, lost the first 2 games of their series against the Pirates. That's not a good sign. The positives and negatives for the Red Sox are pretty obvious, and we'll start with the positives. And that's the offense. Adam Duvall has gone off to a red hot start. Verdugo's gone off to a red hot start. Devers has been good. Yoshida's been good too. Not great, but good too. So this offense, they scored 9 runs in every game of their series against the Orioles. So that's the positives for the Red Sox so far. Their offense has been really good.
Yeah, it has been. So another positive has been kind of that game. I don't know if you see how they play Saturday. They should have lost Saturday. They could be. They should have lost.
Yeah, they dropped. The Orioles dropped the fly ball. Yeah.
Yeah, so they could really be sitting there 1-4 right now at this moment. But they offer the pitching struggled. Kluber, they really need Kluber to have a good outing today because they burned Josh Winkowski last night. Zach Kelly went 2 nights ago and threw over 2 innings, so he's not available. I know Kluber's been good today, but it's the starting rotation has been great. I know Sale, the fastball is only 96. The movement wasn't there for Sale, which I think is a little bit concerning. But and most of your back end bullpen guys are the long relievers right now are kind of are in your rotation. So that's the worry. But back the positive it's been that offense. Duvall has been really good. Cassis has kind of struggled out of the gate here, but that offense has been good. And they were mentioning last night, I was doing the game last night, and this could be a whole major league thing, but they're the ball's flying a lot more than usual at this time of year in Fenway. So maybe there's something going on with the balls. I don't know. For the way the offense has been going for cold Boston right now, the ball's been jumping a lot in that park, but we'll see. The offense has been good, but at some point you need the starting pitching to shut somebody down. And it just has, and the Pittsburgh just scored. Carlson had a solo shot, so they're losing right now 1-0.
Yeah, shocking there. And we'll go right to the negative. The pitching for the Red Sox has been absolutely horrendous all across the board. Their starting rotation might be one of the worst in baseball. It is horrible. It is horrendous. I know James Paxton's back here. What's James Paxton going to give you? Their rotation is pathetic. And the big thing was 3 years ago when they didn't re-sign Mookie Betts is the reason for that is we have enough offense. We need to sign some pitching. And the Red Sox have just completely failed to sign any pitchers. They're pretty much building a team to play at Fenway Park 81 games a year, which you're high on Bloom. That should just get you fired because your starting rotation is horrific. That rotation is terrible. That's why they lost their first 2 games, especially on Monday night to the Pirates. That's why this team could be in for a very long season. I know their offense has been good so far, but that's why this team could be in for a very long season because their starting rotation is horrendous.
Yeah, it's bad. Pivetta pitched well last night. He made the 2 mistakes, and one of them should have ended the inning. It was drop third strike, and then I forget And then Bay, I think his name is, hit a hit a 2-run shot to give him the lead last night for Pittsburgh. So, like I thought Pivetta was good last night, but yeah, other than that, Kluber's been better today than he was opening day. But yeah, it's concerning. I think Whitlock's supposed to be pitching tomorrow. Double-A
Yeah,
Portland.
but Kluber's been good today. But look at the lineup he's facing. That lineup is terrible outside of O'Neal Cruz and Brian Reynolds.
Yeah, Reynolds has killed the Red Sox. That's a guy I would love to see in the Yankees outfield. He's been a Red Sox. The numbers, I totally can't remember his numbers against them, but they've been really good. So far against Boston, in his career. But yeah, the rotation's a mess, and it's a problem. I know, like, they're hoping Brian Balo comes back soon, but I forgot the top prospect. There's another prospect that's had Tommy John last year that they're high on at some point coming up this year and pitching. Like, they kind of feel like, when they get a couple of guys back, maybe it changes, but I'm worried because Sale didn't look great. The fastball velocity was there, but at this day and age, 96 isn't really scaring anybody. And that slider wasn't breaking like it usually does. And that's where I'm a little bit concerned there with Chris Sale. But yeah, Pivetta looked good last night mostly, but the 2 mistakes killed him. But yeah, other than that, it's a little concerning right now for the Red Sox.
Oh, it's got to be. I mean, and I didn't expect this team to be good. I expect this general manager to be fired at the end of the year. And if they don't fire him, I expect Cora, like I said last week, to try to look for another job because this GM clearly doesn't get it. This guy does not get it. You don't sign your big. I've said this I say this every week with the Red Sox. I've been saying this for the last 2 years. You don't sign your franchise players like Bogarts and Betts, but you don't get any pitching, which is a clear weakness on your team. You have a GM there that totally does not get it at all. So if this team, I think, is on their way to a bad year. I think this team is on their way. I think they'll be lucky. They'll be lucky to win 75 games. The way their pitching is, they'll be lucky to win 75 games. And if they win under 75, that should result in Chaim Bloom being fired and Red Sox management making one of their biggest mistakes ever, firing Dave Dombrowski, a guy who got them a world championship, to hire this guy who has been absolutely terrible for this franchise.
Yeah. Well, part of it was, I think they wanted to, they didn't like how much Dombrowski spent, and that's why they think that's
the market you're in. You're in a market where you spend money. Boston's a market. You're a big market team. You spend money.
I know. I'm not disagreeing. This is my theory and what I've kind of heard too. Like they didn't like the way Dombrowski spent money, and they wanted to kind of cut. But again, because that owner group, they own so many things too, or what, they're trying to get the team in Vegas. They own one of the soccer clubs over in England. Like they just spend so much. I think they own part of the Pittsburgh Penguins now. Like, I don't know if that was part of, but yeah, in a market like Boston, yeah, you got to be willing to spend your money and, again, put a competitive team on the field because that's what they expect in Boston. Attendance has been good so far, though. Like last night, cold Tuesday night, Pittsburgh wasn't sellout, but it looked pretty close to sellout. So far, the attendance has been good. So we'll see. You get swept by Pittsburgh. We'll see what happens when they come back after the road trip when both the Bruins and Celtics are in the playoff. What you're drawing, but yeah, if Chaim Bloom doesn't get the team in the playoffs, yeah, there's going to be a lot of noise for him, and it's very possible that they fire him. Maybe they'll do what they did last time with Dombrowski when the Patriots had the ring ceremony. That's the minute they fired Dombrowski because they knew nobody in Boston would notice that, so they try to hide it like that again. But we'll see. But yeah, it's a team that right now, yeah, could be on their way to 75. 80 wins somewhere in that range, and yeah, that may not that won't save him. Especially Cora is one of the best managers in the game, so he'll steal a couple, but will it be enough? It'll probably be pretty tough too.
Now look at the road ahead for the Red Sox. They got the Tigers this week. And let me tell you something about the Red Sox. They need to win today, and they got to win this series against the Tigers if they have really any shot at competing this year. Because if you look at their schedule, I mean, they got after that, they don't even have they're not playing a team that they're better than until the beginning of June when they play the Reds at home. So they need to win 2 out of 3. And I think they're good enough this week against the bad Tigers team to take 2 out of 3 against the Tigers this weekend.
Yeah, they should. It's like not much, obviously not much when territory we're 2 weeks into a season, but yeah, for some confidence here and just to kind of, because they fell behind last year or very early, and that really hurt them. And yeah,
And why did they make the playoffs in 2021 to make the ALCS? Because they got off to a hot start.
Yeah, absolutely. And they got it to a slow start last year. They got it to slow start in 19, which so I think that was this weekend was the first time they've won an opening weekend series since 18. Like they've not been able to get out to a ton of fast starts. But yeah, you mentioned the 1 year in 21 they were able to. But yeah, they gotta find a way to win 2 out of 3, because then you go down 4 for Tampa Bay, and we know going down the Trops is never easy with that team. So yeah, you better hope you get 2 out of 3, and you better hope you're able to come back today and find a way to win today, because yeah, it could spiral out of control, because their first 27 games you're playing teams that have won an average of 76 games last year. Like, it's a very manageable April. You got to find a way to keep pace with the Yankees, the Blue Jays, the Rays, and maybe even the Orioles. So yeah, they got to find a way to win today and against the Tigers.
Absolutely. So now we'll get to the big story in baseball, and the big story is obviously the pitch clock, and is it good for baseball? And I think it's outstanding for baseball. I think the games are down a half an hour, like the Yankee game right now. It's not even 2:30, and they're in the 6th inning. The speed of the game has picked up so much. I think it's really good for the younger generation. People have shorter attention spans. The game is quicker. I think this is great for the game. I don't care what Machado said yesterday. I don't care what Scherzer said after opening day. I don't care. These players need to adjust. They need to adjust. Stop complaining. I stop wanting the game to be back, because you know what? The game isn't going to come back, because I feel like the ratings are going to improve. 95% of people like the pitch clock, so the game is not going to come back to what it was. You got to adjust to the game to the way it is now. Scherzer and Machado and Harper. You got to adjust to that. So I think this is great for baseball. I think this Manfred did a great job putting this pitch clock in. I think this is just going to help grow the game, especially with the younger generation.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't know if you heard the Marlins Twins last night. Hour 57, the game was over.
And if you're going to watch a Sandy Alcantara start, you'd rather watch a 1-0 baseball game in 2 hours than watch a 1-0 baseball game in 3 hours. Because I've seen 1-0 baseball games that take 3.5 hours long, and that's one of the worst things you could ever see on TV.
Oh yeah, when you mentioned with the short attention spans, everybody loses interest, and yeah, it's huge. And I haven't seen the pace of time the last 2 days or so, but yeah, it was a half a day. Yeah, like this weekend was down a half hour. Like it's 2:40 is perfect, because that's right around, again, the NFL is about 3 hours, but the NBA and NHL are right around 2.5 hours each game. That's the perfect kind of amount of time for a game. And so far, yeah, it's been great. The action's been better without the shift either. Seems like it's been some more high scoring games this year. I don't know if that's the system of the balls, but there's something going on with going on Major League Baseball. But yeah, again, it's been fun to watch. It's been entertaining, and it's so much better with the pitch clock. And yeah, these guys got to just kind of adjust to it. And a lot of these younger guys anyways came up in the minor league system with this thing. So for a lot of them, yeah, they don't really mind it. They kind of know it. So yeah, I think like after a month or so, I don't think this is going to be a big deal. Yeah, maybe something happens like in the playoffs or a big spot in like game 160 and the pitch clock has an effect, maybe. But like at that point, you should already kind of have it down pat, and you should kind of know what's going on, and you should be able to adjust to it.
Absolutely. I mean, and you talked about higher scoring games. There are. The Yankees outside until last night scored 5 runs in each game, and they're like 14th in runs scored. So the games have been higher scoring. There's more action. Stolen bases are up, which is huge. Yeah. That's another thing we haven't seen a lot in baseball since the analytics have came in, is stolen bases. We haven't seen enough stolen bases. We're seeing more stolen bases now, so guys are getting into scoring position. So that's what's making the game more interesting, because it's not that entertaining to watch if you have bases empty or you don't have a superstar at the plate. Putting a runner in score, or a guy on first base, putting a runner in scoring position really, really helps things. I think having more stolen bases and only having the pitchers have to go over twice, that's another great rule.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. More action. Again, maybe with a guy on second or third, guys aren't swinging always for the fence. Maybe they're just trying to find something in the gap. Knock them in. I think it has brought more action. I think it's helping baseball. Again, because you're seeing a lot of these kind of guys that just maybe they're not great hitters, but they're guys that could steal a lot of bases, and they're not getting a ton of jobs because, people want to kind of, teams kind of want these power hitters that are able to slug their way to wins. And, Anthony Volpe, stole like 50 bases last year in the minor leagues. You can do that the 9-hole. with LeMahieu coming up and LeMahieu with the history of the way he can knock guys in and run scoring position, again, that's going to be huge. So, yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be great that you're going to see a lot more stolen bases, a lot more action. It's great for the sport of baseball. I haven't really seen any ratings yet in the sport, but look, I definitely think the ratings have to be better for Major League Baseball.
Absolutely. And, these get off like lawn. People don't want the game to change. This commissioner is, and I've been hard on this commissioner, but this commissioner is trying to make this sport more entertaining. Give him a ton of credit for that. Putting the runner on second base a couple of years ago, I think was a really good rule too, putting the ghost runner on, because that got games over quicker. We're not seeing the 16th or the 17th inning anymore. That got games over quicker. So definitely give this commissioner credit. And then adding these new rules with the pitch clock, give this new commissioner credit for making this sport more entertaining. I think he's done a great job of that.
Yeah, he absolutely has. Yeah, I've been hard on him too. A lot of stuff he hasn't done right, I feel like. But yeah, I think finally he's gotten a couple of things right with this new pitch clock. The banning of the shifts, I think is good for the sport as well. So yeah, he's starting to kind of turn the corner here, and I think he's really making an effort to try to make baseball a little bit more interesting for the younger generation who, just doesn't have somewhat the attention span to sit down and watch a 3.5 hour game and wait 45 seconds between each pitch. It isn't fun. And, the thing is too, and I haven't seen the attendance numbers either, but maybe too, more people are going to ballpark early on, because games could be over in 3 hours instead of 4 hours on a work night or school night. And, you're not going to a game. Maybe now, because their games are quicker, maybe you're more maybe you're more willing to go a game, in the week, on the weeknights as well, because, it'll be over a little bit quicker.
Absolutely. So you got to give credit to my man for changing these rules and making the game more exciting. But we're going to wrap up with a sport that hasn't really evolved much, and we don't talk about much unless it's a major. But this week you have to talk about it, because this is pretty much the Super Bowl of the sport, with the Masters coming up on Sunday. And for me, my biggest thing for the Masters is I want to see Roy McIlroy and Scotty Scheffler or Jordan Spieth play in the last round. That's all I want to see. I think it'll be a really good tournament, but my money's on Roy McIlroy. I think McIlroy wins this tournament. I think he wins the Masters. It'll be interesting to see what Tiger does. It always is. I know he's a long shot from winning it. So he did a great accomplishment last year. I think he got to the Saturday of the Masters. Yeah. So it'll be nice to see. I want either Tiger to make a big run or McIlroy to be one of the in the finals for the Masters. That's what I want to see for the Masters.
Yeah, for me, Tiger, going on kind of a run, would be really cool to kind of see him get back there to the weekend, maybe. Kind of being contention would be really cool to see. And then my other one, Scotty Scheffler, he's had, since the fall, he hasn't finished worse than 12th in any tournament. So he's been playing really, really well. And I want to see if he's able to kind of continue that this weekend into the Masters and kind of find a way to win the green jacket. For the first time for him. So that'll be cool to see. I know the weather's supposed to be great for, I think, Friday and Sunday maybe, or Saturday. So we'll see how it kind of plays out. But interesting to see how obviously Tiger does will be the big one, especially make a run. That'd be great for the Masters.
Oh, absolutely. I think the Masters needs Tiger to make a big. He made a good run last year, but I think the Masters needs Tiger to make a big run. But that's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with R&J. For Justin and Alfio, I'm Steve Risser. We will be back next week talking NBA playoffs and the play-in tournament and the Yankees and Red Sox and any NFL news that comes our way. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is his availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach in college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group, and here at CMG we have a wide variety of podcasts, including including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Burn, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting ClovercrestMedia.com.